Boy, I told y'all we would have some crazy trade talk to talk about, didn't I? Well, listen up. We've got a ton to cover. Check it out. We have all of this right here. A lot to talk about. There's a lot of trades. I knew this trade deadline would be crazy these last 2 days, and it did not disappoint. The trade deadline did end. I believe all the information about all these trades is out. However, there may be just a little bit not out yet, not fully detailed, something along those lines. So if it does get out and get released, I will make one more video covering that. However, this will be the end of the NBA trade deadline for this season. NFL stuff could still happen. However, we don't have any new NFL news for this video. Apologies for that. It's just NBA. So let's just jump right in here. First one we had, it was actually right after I'd uploaded the last trade video, and it was just a Hornet and Thunder pick swap. The Hornets got the 2029 second round pick, and the Thunder got the 2030 second or conditional second round pick. Sorry. So nothing crazy there. However, fast forward February 4th. It's now February 6th. It is 6 p.m. and the trade deadline ended at 3, so 3 hours ago. However, on the 4th, so that was the first thing that happened. We're just going in order here, going down the list. And also, I would like to mention there is a couple other small trades that happened or small details, but the ones we're talking about are all the notable ones. All right, so next up on the list, we actually have the Dallas Mavericks. They wanted to pursue and get Kevin Durant. However, obviously this did not happen. Kevin Durant, the Mavericks, the Suns, I don't know who didn't want it to happen, but it didn't go through. However, they might pursue him for next season, so be on the lookout for that. Also, if Kevin Durant does not want to go there, the Mavericks are also talking about pursuing LeBron, supposedly. Who knows if this is true, but I could definitely see it happening. I mean, think about it. Well, I take that back. I personally do not see it happening because the Mavericks just got Luka, and they traded for a center, which we'll talk about here in just a second, and Mark Williams. So I don't see LeBron leaving. I think they're going all in this season. They want to win the chip, and if they win it, you know he's not going there. In fact, heck, he might even retire if they win it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows. I think he's got one more year in him, though, but I don't think he wants to split up from his kid. And I just don't see him leaving the Lakers with all these new assets they just acquired. I'm just keeping it real. So if that were to happen, I personally would be surprised. However, it was reported that they are thinking about pursuing him in the offseason. So don't be surprised if it does happen. Don't be surprised if it doesn't type situation. Next, we actually have news on Lonzo Ball as the Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Pistons. So 3 separate teams were interested in getting him at the trade deadline. Nobody actually did. He is still on the Bulls. However, this is something to look out for in the next season or two if he goes to either of them. I honestly don't know his contract, but once his contract expires, maybe he would want to go to one of them, or maybe they'll just trade him in the offseason. Like I mentioned, interesting for the Pistons, really, because they have, and the Grizzlies, because they both have solid point guards. They got Ja and Cade. I'm not really sure why they went Lonzo. I know Lonzo's not a point guard necessarily. He's more of a shooting guard, but still, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like they got good ball handlers already. Never hurts to add one more, though. And Lonzo Ball's a solid player. He can shoot the ball. So, again, I can see it. Just those 3 teams, to me, it personally only makes sense for the Timberwolves. Moving on, however, now we have Chris Middleton going to the Wizards and Kyle Kuzma going to the Bucks. So they just got traded for each other 1-1. And then included in that trade, the Bucks also got Patrick Baldwin Jr. and 2 second-round picks. And the Wizards also got A.J. Johnson and a pick swap. So nothing crazy. It is kind of weird to see Chris Middleton leave the Bucks after being there for, was it 7 or 8 years with Giannis? Not sure. It's one of the two. But somebody interviewed Giannis about it, and they asked him, you know, what's it like? You had him for so long, now he's gone, and he gave a pretty good response, and I think it'll help the Bucks, honestly, because you look at Chris Middleton this season, he's had way less minutes, played a significantly smaller role on the team, and I think it was only a matter of time, honestly, before they got rid of him. Bringing in Kyle Kuzma is it's very interesting to say the least. I mean, you look at his numbers this season, it's questionable. However, fitting into the Bucks system, maybe it's the perfect move for them. Maybe it'll work out great. I mean, the Wizards are kind of down bad right now, so maybe it's just because he's on the Wizards. All right, and the next thing that happened, the Lakers actually tried to pursue and get Steven Adams. However, this did not happen, and they got another center, like I mentioned earlier. We'll get to that. Again, we're just going in order here. So next up, it was actually shortly after it was released that they were trying to get Steven Adams. The Kings actually traded and got Jonas Valanciunas from the Wizards. And the Wizards in return got Sidney Kosoko and 2 second-round picks. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know who Sidney is. I do know who Valanciunas is, though. He was the center for the Wizards. Now he's the center for the Kings. He's a solid player, and I guess they wanted another center. I'm not really sure why, honestly. They have Sabonis, who's been playing great, honestly. I don't know if they're trying to have both of them out there and stretch the floor with Sabonis maybe because he can shoot the 3 ball pretty decently, or he's just going to be a backup to Sabonis. Not sure, honestly. Only time will tell. All right, here's where it gets a little bit juicy. We talked about all those different Warrior trade talks in the last video and different alleys they were going and how they were pursuing absolutely everybody. And eventually they ended up trading away Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected second-round pick to the Heat. Now, this is not where this ends. In return, they obviously got Jimmy Butler. This is not where it ends, though, because Dennis Schroeder actually got traded 3 separate times in 18 hours, which makes this 4 times he's been traded this season because he got traded to the Warriors earlier this season, obviously. He went from the Warriors to the Heat, and then from the Heat, he went to the Jazz because somehow the Jazz are just getting involved in every single one of these trades. And then the Jazz traded him away to the Pistons. So right now he's on the Pistons, unless something else changed and he got traded again before the deadline got released and nobody has posted anything about it yet. He's on the Pistons. So that'll help out. I don't know if they plan to make him a backup to Cade maybe, or maybe they're trying to use both of them. I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and find out pretty much with all the rest of these things. Dennis Schroeder had some interesting comments that he stated on the NBA trade deadline. So if you're interested in that, just go look it up. I'm sure you can find it on Twitter or Google or anything. But wild, man, wild that he compared to that. But anyways, moving on. There was actually a trade set up between the Warriors, the Suns, and the Heat to send Andrew Wiggins to the Heat, Jimmy Butler to the Suns, and KD would reunite with the Warriors. This would have been great to see, honestly. This would have... I don't care that they gave up Wiggins. This would have instantly made the Warriors contenders. I mean, you have Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. You're contenders. You won back-to-back chips with them. You're making a run, which they need to do something quick. And honestly, I kind of hope there is more information released because if there's nothing else released about this season and if the Warriors didn't make any more trades, they're probably cooked, honestly. Yes, you got Jimmy Butler, who's a star. However, it's not enough to contend and make you go from 11th in the West or 10th, whatever they're at right now, all the way up in the playoff contention and make a deep run. You might squeak in there, but it's not looking too good. I'm gonna just keep it real. I should have gotten another piece or two. However, they didn't. So probably be the end of the season and have the off season to try and acquire some people before they actually make a real chance at contending again, which is disappointing, but is what it is. And maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe they'll actually make a run. Again, this trade would have been crazy. Imagine Kevin Durant on the Warriors. However, he's the one that actually stepped in and said, no, this trade is not happening. I do not want to reunite with Golden State. I don't have any interest right now. So if he wouldn't have said that, there's a very, very, very good chance we could see him back on the Warriors right now. And I wouldn't complain, really. I mean, imagine Kevin Durant, Curry back together. They won 2 chips back to back. It would have been nice. That's all I'm saying. Moving on, though, I mean, we still got more trades to cover. We got a few left here, and there's even more than this because there's more trades that happen. However, we're just going over all the notable names. So there's a couple smaller names here and there that got traded. However, I won't be talking about it. Moving on to the next one, though, we do have the Raptors and the Pelicans trade. The Raptors got Brandon Ingram, and in return, the Pelicans got Bruce Brown Jr., Kelly Olynyk, 1 first-round pick, and 1 second-round pick. This trade is not that bad, honestly, in my opinion. I mean, when Brandon Ingram is healthy, he's low-key a dog, so I think the Raptors won, and they gave up Bruce Brown Jr. and Kelly Olynyk, who are both bench players for the most part, I should say, because Kelly Olynyk does start a game every now and then with um, Jacob Poltel. So, it just depends, but I think the Raptors will win this one long term. Next up, now we finally have the Lakers trade. Everybody knows the Lakers need a center, all right? Everybody knows the meme. They finally got one. They got Mark Williams from the Hornets, and they gave up Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap. They're going all in. That's all I got to say. The Lakers are going all in for this season. They're trying to win it. And honestly, they have a good chance for it. I'm not going to lie. Yes, they gave up Dalton Connect, their rookie, who in a few years will probably make a name for himself if he keeps going at the pace he is, that is. And then they gave up Anthony Davis. Obviously, that hurts. I mean, you're losing an all-star, so that's going to hurt. No matter. Yes, you got Luka, but you're still losing 80. And they gave up Max Christie, who was another solid defensive player for them. But they brought in Mark Williams, finally got a center. They brought in Luka Doncic, probably the best scorer in the NBA at the moment, and he's only 25. Luka, he's blessed. He's going to be blessed. Mark Williams is actually younger than Dalton Connect somehow. I did not know this, but he is. So that's a crazy stat. So if he sticks with the team, if he keeps performing, that is, then they've got a solid center for at least a couple years to come. So that's good for them. Again, I think they're going all in this season. If they don't win it all, honestly, I'll be a little surprised. They've got a legit chance. I'm not saying they have the best chance at winning it, but they do have a legit chance. And if they do go all the way, I wouldn't be surprised. Mark Williams is one of those guys I think he was slept on, honestly. I think he brings a lot to the table, and people just don't give him the credit he deserves. However, with this trade taking place, the Hornets already had a plan to replace him, as shortly after they did trade and they got Yusuf Nurkic from the Suns and a 2026 first-round pick. And in return, the Suns got Cody Martin, Vasilije Micic. I'm not honestly sure if I pronounced his first name right, but I know the second name was right. And they also got a 2026 second-round pick. So, obviously, they were okay with trading away Mark Williams because they had a plan to get another center. How will this affect the Suns? Not sure, honestly. From what I've seen, at least, the Suns did not go out and get another center. So, I'm really not sure what's happening there. I guess they're going to stick with Mason Plumlee. Like, I don't know. I'm confused with what they're going to do there. Okay, we got like 4 or 5 more things here. So, next up was the Hawks and Cavaliers trade. They did a trade. The Cavs got DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks, and in return, the Hawks got Karis LeVert, George Niang, 3 second-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. So they got quite the hefty load. Karis LeVert and George Niang are both solid players. They played solid minutes for the Cavs. But DeAndre Hunter is low-key been balling recently, so I think that's why the Cavs went to get him. He's a good shooter. He spreads the floor. I think it'll be solid for him. They're already a crazy good team. Well, they have 6 losses, 9, I think. Like 9 losses or 10, like something crazy like that. And they are going to be one of those teams who have a legit chance this season. Them, the Lakers, the Thunder. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and name them all, but those 3, just off the top of the dome, those 3 have a really good chance. Next up on this trade list I got here, we have the Clippers and the Hawks trade. The Clippers received Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks from the Hawks. And in return, the Hawks got Terrence Mann and a Bones Highland from the Clippers. Now, this is an interesting one to say the least. Bogdan he's a solid player for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not worried about why the Clippers got him, but they gave up Bones Highland and Terrence Mann, who have both played a pretty significant amount of minutes for him, I would say. Maybe recently Bones hasn't. However, he did earlier in the season, and he's kind of been trying to find his way back into that rotation. So on the Hawks, honestly, I imagine that he does. He'll probably find minutes again, unless a couple of these players could have gotten traded again since then. However, I haven't seen anything about it, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, the last actual trade that we have here to cover is the Grizzlies and Wizards. Now, this one was interesting to me. I honestly looked at it and thought, okay. The Wizards traded and they got Marcus Smart and a 2025 first-round pick from the Grizzlies. In return, the Grizzlies got 2 second-round picks from a multi-team trade that they did with the Wizards, and then they also got Marvin Bagley III and Johnny Davis. So again, this one's interesting. However, I can see why they got rid of Marcus Smart. Think about it, he hasn't played virtually the whole season with them, and they've been just fine without him. Even with Ja having as many off days as he has, they've still been fine, and they haven't needed him as an extra point guard pretty much, or a shooting guard, whatever they want him to be. So it makes sense, honestly. Now, the last two things we got here are not trades. However, they are things that were reported and would have been interesting to see. First of which is that the Grizzlies tried to pursue Kevin Durant right before the trade deadline, but they couldn't make any deals happen before the trade deadline actually hit. This one is interesting to me because think about Kevin Durant on the Grizzlies with Jaren Jackson Jr., with Zach Edey, with John Morant, with Desmond Bain. Obviously, maybe one of those players I just named gets traded away for this trade to happen. More than likely, actually, they probably would, if not two of them. However, I think it would have been sick. Ja and KD. Yo, Ja is an explosive young guard dunking on everybody, and you got KD, bro, is just like primetime scorer. So that would have been crazy. And last but not least, the last notable thing we are covering, the Nets and Ben Simmons have been working on a contract buyout for him to make him a free agent. And in return, it looks like at the moment, at least, the Cavs and the Clippers are the biggest contenders to land him if he does become a free agent. I'd like to see him on either of these teams. He could be paired up with James Harden again on the Clippers and Kawhi and Ben Simmons. I still don't get it. Ever since he went away from Philadelphia or he got hurt that season and refused to play, he's been a different player pretty much because he was a front runner of that team. Like he was an all-star, but ever since now he doesn't seem like he wants to score that much. He gets a lot of assists though, which that's why I think on the Clippers it would be really interesting to see with James and Kawhi and everybody else they've got. Norman Powell. I mean, think about all he would be able to get them so many open, not necessarily open, but just shots because of the passes he creates. He's getting this many assists on the Nets. Like, come on the Clippers, he'd put up numbers. And on the Cavs, of course, because the Cavs are already crazy. And if they picked up him, yo, I don't know how many minutes he'd play, where he'd be in the rotation. The Cavs are low key not stacked, but they've just got such good rotations that it all works so well, and that's why they're such a good team, honestly. So to add Ben Simmons into there, it'd be unique. Whew. That's the last thing though. We're done. We sped through all of that, and that was a lot to cover. But that's everything that happened. I mean, yeah, that was a lot. We went all the way down this list. We're finally at the end of it, though. Again, if anything else notable comes out that I see in the next day or two, because it hasn't been reported yet or there's more details coming out, I'll let you guys know. However, this is probably all of it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a sub. Appreciate it so much. We actually just recently hit 100 subscribers. I'm very excited about that. And I've got more videos. Go ahead and check them out if you would. I'll pop something up in one of these two corners. I don't know which one it is, honestly. It's backwards on my camera screen here, so it's one of the two though. But go check it out if you would. I'd appreciate it so much. Just stay tuned for my videos. You know, I post every day. I'm posting every day. 500 days. I'm 37 days in right now. 36, one of the two. Again, it just depends when this video goes up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support, all the love. Love it so much. Again, like, a sub, either or both. Appreciate it so much. So thank you for watching. I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all's days. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.